Please come to sit with your left leg in front of you and your right leg folded to the side and behind you. A set sit or a side sitting, and lean on your left hand somewhere on your left side and place your right hand on top, on the highest part of yourself, on your head. That's our starting position. And then for a movement, start to slowly, lightly bend your head from one side to the other, your left ear closer to your left shoulder and up to the middle, and your right ear closer to your right shoulder. Just a little bit, very lightly, your hand is guiding your head, and feel, sense, dive into this world of sensations, of being physical, of being embodied. Feel your spine. Your neck can tilt, but not like a cylinder, but like a spine, a human spine, a neck with its many segments, a little bit more to the left and back to center. And maybe your chest can move and bend as well. So feel that when your head moves to the right, the middle of your chest moves to the left. And again, it's less a tilting than a slight bending. All of your spine might participate, and feel further down with your sensations, down to your pelvis, that when you bend your head to the right, your chest bends to the left, and your pelvis, the right side of your pelvis, lifts up a little bit from the floor, doesn't it? And the same to the other side. Your spine becomes long and erect when you're in the middle, and when your head is bent to the left, the middle part of your chest is moved to the right. And what happens to your left hip joint in this situation? It might also become a little bit lighter when your right hip joint, the area of your right hip joint, the right buttocks, press down more on the floor when your head is bent to the left. So feel that. Enjoy those sensations of moving yourself ever so gently and lightly. And then try to change over your hands. So lean on your right hand instead of your left, and put your left hand on the top of your head, and continue with the movement and see if that's even possible with leaning on your right hand. Does your structure as it is in this moment allow for this flexibility, for this organization of the body? When you require this starting position for the same movement of bending your head ever so lightly from side to side. So we will work on that, but first change over your legs to the other side. Let's see how it is on this side to side sit with your right leg in front of you and your left leg bent behind. Yes. Starting position, so flipping over the legs might be easier than flipping over the arms. Lean on your right hand and have your left hand on top of your head. And now, so this is mirrored. See how it is on this side when you slightly bend your spine, side bending, so don't twist, don't turn, it's just bending from side to side. That might be quite a pronounced difference because we don't use ourselves symmetrically usually in daily life. And maybe that's clear to feel now in this position. Also lean on your left hand. Try to lean on your left hand and have your right hand on top of your head. See if you can still breathe. So if it's easier on this side than the other side, how much can your spine participate? The middle of your chest. If you use your left hand to feel, or your right hand to feel your chest bending from one side to the side, does this even work? Where are we in space? We want to work a little bit more on that. So again, change over your legs. Have your left leg in front of you and your right leg folded to the side and behind. And this time, lean on your left elbow. Yes, to the side. So you're slanted. Your spine, your torso is slanted to the left. You're leaning on your left elbow. You're propped up. You don't have to make a packet. Just lean on your left shoulder casually as it comes to you. Put your right hand on top of your head again. And start again, ever so slightly and lightly with the side bending, and feel how this is in this more difficult situation. Where do you put your right foot on the floor? Where is your left foot? Where did you choose to put your left elbow? Maybe you can adjust. How do you hold your chest with your left shoulder? And slightly bend your neck so your left ear can come closer to your left shoulder. Or the other way, your right ear can come closer to your right shoulder. Find your own rhythm, your own speed, but slowly, so you can notice the many things happening with the many vertebrae, the segments of your spine, your chest that can move from one side a little bit more to the left, closer to the floor, or further away from the floor, and your pelvis can move. Your whole spine side bends to the left and to the right. And enjoy this movement, this being physical, embodied, being able to sense the many different things. And the good things, focus on the good things. What are the parts you can feel like, wow, I'm doing this really well, this moves really nice, this feels really smooth. Oh, there's movement, I didn't know that. And this moves in relation, and this is easy, and here it's easy, and there it's easy. Focus on the positive things. It might be a lot for the shoulder, so we flip over to the other side, slowly. Flip over, so your left leg is to the side and behind, and your right leg is in front of you, and lean on your right elbow. And have your left hand on top of your head, and again on this side. Start to explore what is easy, where do you feel good and comfortable, where is movement. Where do you have a lot of movement, and where there is no movement? Can you feel the parts that don't move that well? So instead of focusing what hurts and what doesn't move, focus on where it feels good and where it moves. And maybe these areas of well-being can start to spread out and become bigger. So different focus. We focus on the good, and the good can spread out and become bigger, instead of focus on the things that don't work and hurt and give our attention and power to that. No, on the good things. So what can move and what can invite, affect positively inspire the other parts to move and to feel well as well. Where is tension you can let go? Where can you be longer? Where can you let go and realign and find more space and come back to a more neutral, less opinionated, in a more neutral stance? And then we don't overwork the right shoulder, so come up again, change over, one more time to the left side. Again, lean on the left elbow. And instead of having your right hand on top of your head and bending your spine from the right to the left, point your right arm towards the ceiling, your right hand towards the ceiling, and continue with the same movement of the spine. But your arm is pointing up towards the ceiling, and see if you can still move your spine like before, even though your arm is pointing up to the ceiling. So that might be a bit difficult. So put your hand again on your head and move your head together with your hand, your spine, side bending from side to side. And when you're ready, let go and point your arm up to the ceiling and continue the movement with your spine. Right ear to your right shoulder and then left ear to your left shoulder, only that the arm isn't participating, and change back and forth a couple of times. So let your head be guided by your hand, your arm participate in this movement of side bending and pushing and pulling, and at some point point up your hand to the ceiling and continue the movement with your spine, but the arm doesn't. The arm is just pointing up. And then instead of the arm just pointing up, let the arm move a little bit along with the spine. So it's like a waving in the side plane, in the frontal plane. Your arm starts to wave together with your spine. Hello, hello, yes, or goodbye, here I am, or here I was. So we have three ways of moving: the right hand on the top of the head, or the right hand pointing towards the ceiling, or the right hand waving together with the spine. How about the right hand or the right arm waving in the opposite direction of the spine? Is that possible? And then change over to the other side with your right leg in front of you and your left leg behind you. Lean on your right elbow. And again, we try this on this side, to bend the spine with your left hand on top of your head, or to continue bending the spine with your left hand pointing towards the ceiling. Does all of your spine still move and participate? Or waving so that your arm waves goodbye or hello, or your arm waves in the opposite direction. Your spine is moving. A difficult differentiation. So let's come to sit again and see what this side waving has done for us. Sit with your left leg in front of you and your right leg bent behind you. Lean on your left hand. See how that is now. Have your right hand on top of your head. Bend your spine. Bend your head from left to right. Or lean on your right hand. The left hand on the top of your head. How is it to sit upright in side sitting on the other side with your right leg in front of you and your left leg behind you? Lean on your right hand and have your left hand on top of your head. See how it is on this side when you slightly bend your spine. Or how is it to lean on your left hand while you have your right hand on the top of your head? How is it to side sit now and just enjoy feeling yourself, being yourself? Please come to sit with your left leg in front of you and your right leg folded behind you. And then lean on your left elbow and point your right hand to the ceiling, your right arm up to the ceiling. And then for the movement, start to move your right hand to the right behind you and up to the ceiling again. With your eyes and head, keep looking at maybe your right index finger. When you move your right hand to the right and behind you, and then up towards the ceiling again, and continue to move your right hand to the left or to the front. Continue looking at your right hand and then up again. And feel the details. You have to move really slowly to feel what's happening in your left shoulder. How your chest is rotating around your left shoulder. How your pelvis is moving a little bit together with your arm. So your pelvis is rotating. forwards slowly, slowly, and backwards slowly. Almost as slow as if you would point at the sun. Of course, not that slow. A little bit faster than the sun is moving, but just so fast that you can keep breathing. You notice the details. How far back can you go without your knees lifting or you falling backwards? Little by little, this movement can become a little bit bigger. And then come up and change over to the other side. So it's a lot for the left arm to lean on. Put your right leg in front of you and your left leg behind you. And this time lean on your right elbow and point with your left hand up to the ceiling. Look at your left hand and start to move your left hand to the left or backwards and see if you can keep looking at your left hand. How far is it easy? And then up again and a little bit forwards. So you move your left hand to the right or forwards. Keep looking at it. Feel how your pelvis is moving a little bit, how your chest is rolling over your right shoulder. And if you do it slow enough and gentle enough and light enough, the movement will become a little bit bigger and more available by itself. But we don't overdo it. It's a strenuous movement to hang in there to the side. So come up again and switch over to the other side with your left leg in front of you, your right leg folded behind you, and then lean on your left elbow again. Point your right arm to the ceiling and continue the same movement like before. You look at your right hand, the right hand travels backwards to the right, and then keep your right hand backwards to the right and only return your head. So return your head to the front and then continue to rotate your head to look at your left hand. And then rotate your head again to look at your right hand. So we divorce the head movements from the arm movements. The head to the right and to the left. Or bring them together again. Move your right hand to the left and forwards and look at your right hand with your head, with your eyes. Follow your hand like you would follow the sun through the sky or a cloud or a bird. And then at some point, divorce your head movements from your arm movements and see where do you have freedom, where do you have movement, what is happening with all that. What is this differentiation of moving the head in the opposite direction of the arm or moving them together? How can you make yourself comfortable? Where do you lean against your left elbow? How do you adjust yourself to make the best of this movement of turning your arm in this transverse plane to the left and to the right along the axis of your spine? a snap, crackle and pop lesson in the neck. All right, and then we don't want to overwork it, but come to take a rest by moving on the other side. Please put your right leg in front of you, your left leg behind you, and then lean on your right elbow. Point your left arm up to the ceiling. Ease into this position and start to move your left hand backwards. Follow with your eyes and head. Then keep your left hand at the back and just return your head and run your head to the right. Look at the right and see how do you have to position your right shoulder, your pelvis, your legs to make the best of it. How do you have to adjust to find ease in this task? And then move your arm together with your head again for a while, or divorce them and move your head in the other direction than that your arm is moving, or maybe your arm isn't moving at all. How is your pelvis rolling and rotating, and at what point your knees are inclined to lift? When do you have to stop in order not to fall over? All right, then instead of taking a break, we come up again and a last time onto the other side. So bring your left leg in front of you, your right leg behind. One last time, lean on your left elbow. And this time, with your right hand, hold your chin and point your right elbow towards the ceiling. And instead of moving your hand, your long arm through space, move your right elbow through space. So bring your attention, your mind into your right elbow. Feel your right elbow pointing to the ceiling, and then your right elbow moving backwards and forwards. And because you're holding your chin, you have this packet of arm and head, and everything moves together as a packet. Your arm moves proportionally to your neck because they are one, they are connected. And again, where do you have to place your left elbow, your right knee, your legs, your sideways alignment of your spine to make the best of this rotation forwards and backwards? Or let go of this constraint, start to extend your arm out and move your arm forwards and backwards, and see how it is now to move your arm in this transverse plane to the left and to the right around the axis. How do you turn your arm? How do you follow with your head or don't follow with your head? How do you use your legs as counterweight, counterbalance to help with the movement? How do you become better, more proficient at this movement, more acquainted with this movement? Then come up again, and to the right side we will do the arm, the chin holding on the right side, with your right leg in front of you, your left leg folded behind your pelvis. Lean on your right elbow, get hold of your chin with your left hand, point your left elbow to the ceiling and start to rotate, to move your left elbow through space to the right and to the left, or forward and backward behind you, and see how can you arrange that with your spine. What is the side bending you need, the position of your right elbow that you need in order to make the best of it, how to make it more easy, more comfortable, more light, more smooth and flowing. How can you ease into this situation? How little do you have to move to do the movement so it counts as participating? If you're somebody who likes to overwork, how little can you do? And if you're somebody who likes to do too little, how far can you go? How can you get to know yourself, what you like better? And then again, have your arm extended and move together with your head, or separate, like the 3 variations we had in this part of the lesson. And see how it developed, how smoothly it has become in these few minutes of exploring and finding your freedom in this movement. All right, and then come up to side sit in either way and feel how it is now to side sit, to side bend in either configuration. And how you become more and more comfortable with yourself, who you are, and how you can sit and bend. And be. Please come to sit with your left leg folded in front of your pelvis and your right leg bent and folded to the right and behind you, and lean on your left elbow. Shortly review the side bending, so have your right hand on top of your head and side bend your head together with all of yourself to the right and to the left. And then extend your right arm to the ceiling and move your right arm backwards. Look at your right hand, backwards and to the right and forwards and to the left, and feel how the rotation is now. To move your right arm forwards and backwards with the whole of yourself, how everything you have is participating in this movement, including your breathing, your feeling, your sensing, your thinking. Okay, then take a short break, come up to sit, and then down again onto your left elbow. Extend your right hand up to the ceiling, and then move your right arm up. So your right upper arm comes closer to your right ear and behind. And I will use 2 very distinct strategies here. One is to move only the arm, to move the arm backwards and up into the circle, but not to move the knees, not to lift the knees off the floor, but to keep the knees on the floor and move only the arm in the circles. And the other strategy is to lift the knees, to let the pelvis participate, to let the whole body move together with the arm. And I switch from one strategy to the other. We're going into a circle, the first quadrant of a circle that's with the arm up and behind. And see, when you go behind, your knees start to lift and don't fall over to the back. So come back to the front and explore how to make this circle with the arm backwards and then down behind you. Look at your right hand and then lower your arm further so your pelvis might roll until your arm is pointing downwards and then forwards. So you roll forwards and slowly up again. It's a huge arm circle that involves our side bending we had throughout the lesson before and the rotation. And keep leaning on your left elbow and see when do your knees lift off, and start to play with it more and more, to follow with your head or not to follow with your head, to divorce the head movements from your arm movements. Start to make bigger circles with your arm or smaller ones. And also you can play by going into the opposite direction to move your arm forwards instead of backwards. So in your own time, explore this movement with all the knowledge we gathered throughout the segments of this lesson so far. What are the details you can discover of folding yourself, of reaching, or of extending yourself, of reaching into the other opposite direction, how you use your legs together with your arm, the side bending, the rotation, your eyes, your breathing, your organization. You're leaning on your left elbow. How you differentiate the movements of your torso and your pelvis from your arm. Yes, so that's very smooth and there's so much available suddenly and so much to discover and play with. So come up to side sit and flip over your legs to the other side. So have your right leg in front of you, your left leg behind you. Lean on your right elbow and point your left arm towards the ceiling. So we had the side bending, we had the rotation, and then start with the circle by bringing your left arm up and behind. So we explore this first quadrant of the circle first, where the knees might lift off the floor quite immediately, where you extend yourself backwards, but don't fall backwards. Make maybe a small circle. Play with the direction, with the directions, forwards, circles, backward, clockwise, counterclockwise circles, how big you make the circles, how you divorce your head movements from your arm movements, all that we talked about in detail, we explored in detail, and now put those movements together. Where do you have to place your right elbow? Where do you have to place your legs? How much do you roll your pelvis? Breathe freely, side bend. Where is movement in your spine? Where isn't? How can you invite parts? Through thinking positive, through thinking about the parts that move more, can invite the parts that move less. And it's not just a full embodiment, dissolving ourselves in our sensations and feeling. No, it's our brain that's also working. We know where we are in space. We know what we are doing. Are we moving the arm up or down or behind? What's the strategy we are using? What are the parts we're looking at? What are the parts we still have potential for improvement? We are awake and alert and at the same time relaxed and fully immersed in this experience of well-being and moving ourselves. Alright, so that was quite a philosophy, isn't it? We end this session, so come up to sit again and see how you sit now in either direction, how you can lean on each arm. Or if you like, you can end this session by lying down on your back and feel yourself by giving yourself up to gravity and how you rest on the floor. A little meditation to end, or a little meditation in standing. However you decide to end this session, this lesson, take your time to feel yourself, to experience yourself, how you feel, how you move, what this lesson did for you.